Boom. Welcome to the Project Freedom Podcast. I'm Josh, and basically tonight we're here to talk about the old financial system versus the new one. Probably gonna be a short one tonight, guys, because I have something I need to attend after this, which I should have attended before and was not able to. But I'm gonna try to run through this real quick. Can I get someone in the chat to tell me if you guys can hear me all right? I'm not quite sure. I don't have my headphones right now, so I'm not quite sure if my audio is coming in okay. What's up, Dixon? What's up, Nick? Oh, Michael, my friends, how are you guys doing tonight? All right. So basically, and I think most people in here probably know this, but it is June 18th, 2021. And thank you, Michael. Thank you, Dixon. And it's not 2015 anymore, right? Times are changing, and believe it or not, there's a lot more things that someone can do financially to achieve freedom. And some of these things can be as small as just using some sort of payment processor to get some interest, or just simply not putting your money in a bank, right? I definitely am not a fan of banks. It's always been like a huge nuisance to have your money in a bank. Shout out Oso Chain. What's going on, my friend? Now, what's the problem with the bank? And I'm going to try to trail into that. But the thing about banks, guys, is if you don't have control of your money and you put your money in a bank, it's not really your money, right? So at that point, are you even doing anything? Are you getting any benefit from having a checking account that has 0.05% APY yearly? Not much, right? And there's a lot of technology out there that's providing the exact opposite of that scenario. Meaning you can actually get interest over a fraction of a percent on keeping your money elsewhere other than just a traditional bank. And I just wanted to share some links that I have for some of this stuff. But for starters, let's talk about Chase Bank. Okay, and let me pull up. Let's pull up Chase Bank's newest checking account information on the screen, and let's just see what the benefits are of opening up a bank account at Chase. Spoiler alert, it's not much. All right, so what do you get with a Chase total checking account? The essentials with Chase total checking. All right, so you get access to 16,000 different ATMs. All right, that's not bad. That's pretty cool, right? I mean, you can go to whatever ATM you want. 4,700 branches is quite a lot. So you can expect that almost, in almost any city that you're going to be in, you're going to be able to find one of these banks, right? So none of this should ever be a problem. So, yeah, I mean, you want to get your money from Chase, you should just easily be able to walk into a bank and get your money out, right? Not necessarily the case. But let's look at the details of what you can do with your Chase total checking account. All right, so first and foremost, there's a $12 monthly service fee or $0 with one of the following each monthly statement periods. Yada, yada, yada. Electronic deposits made into this account totaling $500 or more, such as payments from payroll providers, government benefit providers, yada, 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 yada. Or a balance at the beginning of each day of $1,500 or more. On an average beginning day, a balance of $5,000 or more in any day. So I'm not even 100% sure what they're saying, but it sounds like to me that basically they're saying if you don't keep a certain amount of money with us, we're going to charge you, right? So does anybody see any benefit from this other than the fact that there's 16,000 ATMs and 4,700 branches? So I guess the main benefit with opening up a traditional checking account via a bank like Chase Bank is that you have accessibility to these branches anywhere, right? And I guess ATMs too. Okay. I do have a Chase checking account, but I never use it. Like I literally never use it. I actually, my personal checking account is like a small private bank in a far, far away land. And even though my bank doesn't have its specific ATMs anywhere, if there is an ATM fee, my bank will always refund it to me at the end of the month. So, I mean, the fact that they have 16,000 ATMs, I mean, it's really not a big deal. And I know a lot of other banks actually like refund like ATM withdrawals. I think Navy Federal does too, actually. So, I mean, like, quite a few banks do, right? All right, so that's Chase. That's a Chase Bank checking account, essentially in a nutshell, right? And what are some other like leading banks that are similar to Chase? Regions, Chase. I don't know. Any one of those other big banks, right? So there's really no benefit to using just your old school checking account. If in fact you're not really using your bank with them, right? It's more or less like they're using you. Especially if you take into consideration the fact that, if you need to ever pull out a large amount of money, it's almost always going to be a nuisance. And I can guarantee you that. If you don't believe me, if anybody has like over $10,000 in a checking account, just go and try to just go to the bank and say, can I take $10,000 cash out? But probably not even going to let you do it. They're going to make it seem like there's some sort of other reason why they're not going to let you do it. But the truth is they don't have the cash. Like they literally don't have the cash in the bank account. And that's because of something called fractional reserve banking. If you guys want to Google that, what that really means is if you put money in a checking account, the bank can basically lend out not like 90% of that money to other people, and they only need to keep 10% of it. So if you give a checking account or a bank $100 in your checking account, all right, they only need to keep $10, and they can put that $90 and loan it out to somebody else. All right. And they can actually loan it out to another bank, and then that bank can repeat the process over and over again. So pretty much all of your money in a bank, in one of these traditional banks, is just numbers on a spreadsheet, really just numbers in a machine, in a computer. That's all it really is. So for the people who think that things like, I don't know, like cryptocurrency are just like numbers in a computer, like, well, guess what? Surprise. It's actually the same exact case with our traditional financial system, right? And the reason I wanted to start that by just like showing, a big bank like Chase is because Chase is what's called, Chase is a regular bank, right? And that's something that's called TradFi or traditional finance. So we talked about I actually went to their page and we literally looked at like benefits of having a checking account there, and there's not much, right? They pretty much charge you money and that's it. It didn't even say anything in here about APY or interest. Let me see if I can find before I lie to you guys. Let me make sure that there's nothing that mentions interest in here. Okay. Yeah. So I'm not even sure for this, like for this checking account, you even get any interest. All right. So, all right. Benefits of a traditional financial institution, such as a bank like Chase, the checking account. You have access to ATMs. All right. That's cool. But I mean, there's, you can use an ATM with like anything that has a debit card, right? There is access to branches. You can go in there, and I guess when you go in there, you can just have these people that work behind a counter that will tell you that they can't do what you want to do with your money. And I guess they're just kind of like a scapegoat for the people at corporate to not have to deal with you yelling at them because they don't do what you want to do. And then we have DeFi, all right? And I'm sure some of you guys know what DeFi is, but DeFi was just decentralized finance. And the difference between TradFi and DeFi is basically like Chase Bank. To make it simple, a bank like Chase Bank, all right, is centralized, all right? It's owned by a corporation. If like the United States government wants to go there and like knock on their door and force them to do something, they have a location to go to, right? They have people to acquiesce things from. All right. Whereas DeFi is basically, there is no door to go knock on. It's all ran off of code. It's all run by code, specifically smart contracts. And smart contracts are created through a programming language for multiple programming languages, but one of the most notable ones is Solidity, right? If you guys think about like the Ethereum blockchain. And there is a whole plethora of things that you can do to benefit from DeFi, other than just like the fact that, you know, you can choose to self-custody your assets, and you don't have to go to a physical location and argue with people over the phone to get it. But there's so many of those like nuanced benefits that I don't think it's even worth mentioning in this stream, because I didn't want to get to the granular level of detail with this. All right. And then there's I just wanted to mention DeFi. All right. And then there's a combination of two, right? So there's like centralized financial institutions that use decentralized applications in order to benefit their customers. All right. Now, for example, here, I have another thing I want to show you guys. And again, this platform isn't necessarily like a 100% decentralized platform, right? It's a combination of both. All right. So there is a company that someone can go knock on the door to. However, because of the nature of the fact that it is based off of DeFi-esque, because it's not completely DeFi, but DeFi-esque technology, you benefit a lot more from using things like this. All right, so this is a platform called Celsius, okay? And there are quite a few things out here. Like they're similar to Celsius. There's BlockFi, there's Coinbase too. And I mean, technically Coinbase is an exchange, but I mean, Coinbase has a debit card out now, and you can basically, instead of keeping your money in a bank account, you can buy like USDC or stablecoin, and you can earn 3 or 4% Bitcoin at every purchase. So like, instead of having a bank charge you money, you have someone giving you money back in return. But I digress. Let's talk about something like this. All right, so Celsius, you can store your quote unquote money in the form of something like a cryptocurrency, right? Digital assets, all right? And then you can, instead of keeping custody of those digital assets yourself, you can put them on a platform like Celsius, which is basically just like Bank 2.0, all right? And let's look at like their interest rates for borrowing. All right, so this is for like a collateralized loan. So a 1% APR collateralized loan. That's pretty cool. I don't want to talk about loans so much. I want to talk about being able to, being able to harness yield or benefit from from storing your wealth somewhere. So let's see, CR rates. Here we go. All right, so earn up to 17%, get paid weekly. All right, so if anybody here does use Celsius platform, you know that like you actually get weekly payments, right? They lock in their rates on a Friday and they pay them out on a Monday. But you can earn up to 17% APY, so the whole year. All right, so you would divide that up in 52 weeks essentially. But they pay you weekly, right? I mean, I don't even know if this is their highest rates they've ever done on something, but I mean, 17% compared to, I don't know, what Chase's 0%. I mean, that's like insane, right? 17% APY on some form of asset you have is like 5 years ago would have been considered asinine, right? Like that's like, it's literally unheard of, right? So, and there are some catches to this, all right? Like obviously you have to store your money or your wealth in cryptocurrency, right? Oh, Michael 11% on BNB. Can you put BNB in Celsius? I'm not sure if you can. Or do you mean on like Binance's platform? Let me know and clarify, because I don't even know. I don't think I've ever even heard a place that you can get interest on BNB. But all right, so you do have to like convert your quote unquote dirty fiat cash. I'm just kidding, guys. Fiat's great. Into like a digital asset and then just put it on here. But okay, so the problem with that is what? Like, what if you were afraid that you bought, I don't know, something like Bitcoin, and you bought it and it's like, it's too volatile for you, right? It's just too volatile. So why would you want to do that? It's better to just keep my money in cash. Well, there's other options other than Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever. Like, you can buy a stable coin, right? There's a plethora of different stable coins. And for people who don't know, a stable coin is basically just a digital asset that is pegged to the US dollar. Now, not all of these are 100% trustworthy, although there are some very, very, very big ones like Tether and USDC. Probably the two most trustworthy out there. DAI probably being the third most trustworthy, but DAI is actually my favorite stablecoin. I don't even know why I have a favorite stablecoin, but I do. But so at that point, you know, yeah, these quote unquote stablecoins, their price can change, but like the amount of volatility they have is like fractions of a penny. So maybe if you had like $50 million of stablecoin, then maybe you'd be concerned about the volatility of it. But if you don't, and you just want to like use that as like kind of like a quote unquote reserve checking account to put money on the side, or just a savings account too, you can do that and you can earn up to 17% on the stuff that you have, right? Synthetics network token, 13.99 APY. Yeah, it is. I actually have some of my SNX in Celsius because it's just like free money, right? And granted, that one's not a stable coin. So if the price goes down, I mean, you know, but be it as it may, I think that Celsius currently has, I don't know if they say like their weekly rates. Here we go. All right. So yeah, so these are like all their rates for the stable coins. True USD, Gemini US dollar, PAX. I don't think that's PAX G. That's PAX, the stable coin. USDC, DAI, Tether, and it's like Tether's Great British Pound, Tether Australian dollar, blah blah blah. No one really cares about all these, right? But so they're currently giving 8.88% on all of these except for DAI. I can imagine why they're only giving 4.6 on DAI, which is why I told you it's probably the least like reliable one, but it's still my favorite because of how it works. Gold token. So here, I mean, here's like a quote unquote stable. It's a stable coin, but it's backed by gold. And if you guys want to go look up like PAX G's like little history and their little story about where their gold is, it's in apparently their gold is like in a golden safe up in the land of Asgarnia, protected by elves. But and then let's just look if you think you can handle the volatility and you want to be able to put, I don't know, just your regular money in like a short-term savings account or something into like an actual cryptocurrency. I mean, 13.99% on synthetics is not that bad, right? And just Bitcoin, 6.2%. I mean, Bitcoin's like the number one, right? That's a lot. That's more. I don't know a single checking account out there, like traditional financial institution checking account, that can give you 6.2%, let alone like 4.86. And look at all these. Like the only thing that doesn't have, look, even the lowest ones are like in the twos for things that I don't even know how they like gain yield off of these. Like I guess maybe for like trading, I understand how they make money off of you lending them your Uniswap, but like I don't know, like Bitcoin, Satoshi's Vision, I don't even know, except for XRP. It's the only one that doesn't have any interest. Go figure. But point being, guys, is like, why are we still out here? Why are people still out here using the traditional financial institutions for keeping their money? And I can tell you why. It's because they kind of have to, right? We kind of all have to, because if you want to be able to spend your money and have easy access to it, you're not going to want to have to move things back and forth. And if you're a boomer and just like technology in general is like not secondhand nature to you. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Team Michael, most don't understand the system. And like, if this stuff isn't like exactly like, you know, secondhand nature to you, like if you didn't grow up playing video games, so like, you know, moving things over on a computer is kind of like tedious and hard for you, then like, you know, you'd be prompted not to do it. But that being said, like some of these rates are just like literally, like if you were to go and tell normal people this stuff, people that don't know that any of this stuff exists, their mind would blow, like, just to say like, hey dude, like you can get like up to like 17% interest on stuff that you can store in one of these places. I actually told it. So I have a dude in my elevator who I walk dogs with a lot. And I told him about that because he keeps all of his stuff on Gemini. And he's actually like, he actually bought, because he noticed too. He's like, I bought some Gemini dollar and, you know, Gemini gives me like, I don't know, whatever Gemini gives, like 6% interest on it. And he's like, I don't know why. It like seemed too good to be true, but you know, like I just been doing that. I'm like, yeah, you know, there's other platforms out there like BlockFi and Celsius, you can get like 10%. And for a while, guys, before we actually had this huge market dump, Celsius, I think, was doing like, they're doing 888 on most stable coins right now. I think they were doing like 13.99, something similar to synthetics. So, I mean, these rates change week by week, right? But regardless, they're still way better than like a traditional bank per se, right? So Nick Sledge, 6% interest used to be standard. Yeah, I mean, back when our parents were like children, right? That's not the case anymore, right? Like, no, I don't know a single bank account or in place that does that at all. In fact, as far as I've known, like my entire lifetime, like you'd be lucky to get like 6% yield on your 401k. Michael T. Michael, Alex Machinsky seems like a cool guy. He does. I think he's pretty based. Hopefully he doesn't rug us all. But getting on to the point, and I didn't want to make this like an extremely granular episode where I just like, you know, spat out a bunch of like fine-tuned details about like decentralized finance. This show is supposed to be like welcome and warming to normies, right? All my normie friends in the chat. I don't think you guys are normies, but there are means out there that exist for where you can actually, if you're going to give your money to a place and allow them to house it for you, why would you be giving it to a place like Chase Bank, who treats you like shit, doesn't even have enough of your money? So like if you put $100, I would feel so uncomfortable putting $100,000 of cash in a checking account. I would be just like sweating, right? I would literally just be sweating, like thinking about having to go get my money from there. Granted, you could swipe your debit card and these little numbers that go through the internet, like it wouldn't matter. But if you actually wanted that cash for like an emergency, and literally, like, let's just say you wanted to keep some of your portfolio in cash, and you wanted to like have $100,000 in your portfolio in US dollars, just in case, you know, all power goes out and somebody needs to be able to hand somebody something. I would feel miserable having it at a bank. I would feel there's no point to have that much money at a bank because you get no interest on it, right? I mean, you get like, if you get 0.5% of $100,000. So let's see. In 1 year, if I had $100,000 in Chase Bank, all right, times 0.005, or sorry, $100,000 times 0.05. All right, $5,000 in the whole year. Okay, that's actually not terrible, but for that amount of money, would you take would you take a risk like that just for $5,000? I wouldn't. Because there's no purpose for it, right? Norm Watts. Oh, Michael T. Michael, you should have MLD on just to talk about Chase Bank. No, I can't deal with listening to MLD talk about Chase Bank anymore because of just can't do it. Chase Bank is not good, guys. No bank is good, honestly. Yeah, perfect example right there. You know, my friend had an awful situation with Chase Bank not too long ago. Literally had to come from Japan to America to get money out of a bank account that was associated with Chase Bank because Chase Bank just, you know, was like, here, you can't, like, we just don't want to give you your money. And then he inevitably ended up going to have to get a cashier's check from that bank, go to another bank, and then open up a checking account there, and then wait 24 hours, and then be able to get his money cashed out. But when it was time to cash it out, the second bank, which actually was a different, very similar financial institution, like but not Chase, told him that they didn't have enough money at that branch, so he had to collect half at one branch and half at another branch. But keep in mind, this is in Miami, Florida, and actually was in Brickell of Miami, which is like the wealthy part, right? So like, and it wasn't an extreme large amount of money. It wasn't $100,000, all right? It was not that much. So they didn't even have they didn't have enough. I'll put it this way: a large institutional bank in one of the wealthiest parts of one of the wealthiest cities of the world didn't even have enough money to go and buy a 5-year used Honda Civic in cash. Like they didn't have enough cash on hand. So yeah, like why would are you trusting? Like it doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. But one thing I do want to talk about is how did banks end up like this? How did all this stuff end up, and where did this all originate from? It's a good question, right? So back in 1971, I believe, I don't know if that's the right date. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. We were taken off the gold standard by Richard Nixon. And before, much like a digital asset known as a stablecoin is pegged to the US dollar, the US dollar used to be pegged to X amount of gold. All right. And at first, what they did was they basically said that, okay, we don't need to have, I don't know the exact amount of gold that was pegged per dollar, right? But your bank note, which is why it used to be called a note, one could theoretically go into a bank in 1973. Thank you, Babe Hunker. 1973 is when this happened. Yeah, we're at the 50th year anniversary of all this. So one could theoretically take their bank note, right? Go to a bank and be like, give me my gold. Here, thank you very much. You exchange that note for gold, right? And then Richard Nixon was like, well, actually, before Richard Nixon, they said you don't need to have, let's just say, like I mentioned, I don't know the exact amount of gold. So let's just say, for argument's sake, it was like 500 grams of gold per dollar or whatever, right? At first, they said, okay, instead of $500, 500 grams of gold per dollar, we can just do 200, right? And then Richard Nixon was like, nah, fuck that. Let's just remove the entire pegging of the US dollar to gold, right? And the result was that basically anytime we would create money, we didn't have to have a reserve to back the money that we were printing. So the money was essentially based off of nothing other than just faith, and that's it. And if anybody knows anything through history about fiat currencies in the last 100 years, none of them have lasted, right? Like, let me see if I can find this picture. But we all know what happened to Germany, right? When they started overprinting their money, right? There's like pictures going around the internet of people like having to go into, I shouldn't laugh at this, but having to go into a store and buy food with like wheelbarrows of cash, right? So let me throw this on the screen so you guys can see what image I'm looking at. I shouldn't laugh at this, but like, there's a boy over here, the old boy. It's a nice suit he's got, actually. I actually love that. That's nice. If only time could still be like that, right? Let's go in the grocery store with a wheelbarrow of cash, because like at this point, Germany's equivalent of their McDouble was like 10,000 German dollars, right? Or whatever the German mark or whatever it was, right? There's literally kids like playing with this money in the street. That's how fucking worthless it was. Okay, so this is the result of that, of having a fiat currency that's based off of essentially nothing. Okay, I don't know what this lady's doing. Looks like she's like shoving cash into a wall. I don't know. Yeah, and you can see this little graph right here. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. All right, that's like 5 years. The value of gold mark and papers. So like used to be, one of their amounts of gold was equal to one of their marks. And then it was like, what is that? 1 trillion? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that 1 trillion? That's $1 trillion. All right. So, yeah. I know, and again, I shouldn't be laughing at this, but I think this is just retardedly funny. Antonio, what's up, man? Babe Honker, for example, if the U.S. sets the price of gold at $500 an ounce, the value of the dollar would be worth 1/500th of an ounce of gold. Yes, exactly. Oh, Michael, have you read The History of Central Banking? No, I have not. But I was like, back in like 2011, 2012, I got like super deep into some tinfoil hat shit with like the Federal Reserve and the oil dollar, the petrodollar. So that's kind of like when I learned all this stuff, was when I was in college, and I didn't learn it from school. I actually learned it from, literally watching and reading conspiracy theory stuff. And that's the sad part, is because they don't teach anybody any of this stuff at school. And why would they, right? In my humble opinion, I should probably do an episode on this too. School, as we know it, is like, I think it's just a bunch of just waste. Like, it's a way for people to have a place to put their children, and so that people can go to work. That's basically it. Nick Sledge, government spent more than it had in taxes. Couldn't maintain the facade. The dollar was backed by gold. Yep. Oh, Michael, a nice historical lesson on money, excluding all the blank stuff. Antonio, pretty much banks could take whatever loans they wanted from the Federal Reserve, and that's how they insured your money. Yeah, and keep in mind, the Federal Reserve, what they do when they're creating this money, they do have stuff to back it, but like in some of that stuff, okay, so some of that stuff that they have backed. So the Federal Reserve has a balance sheet, all right, and they usually have to make purchases of things onto their balance sheet to create dollars to give into circulation, all right? Because they need to have enough to back enough assets to back these dollars they print, all right? So, for example, to translate this for you guys, if you guys are familiar with like the cryptocurrency stablecoin Tether, right? Tether has several different assets, some cash, not all cash, that back a stablecoin, all right? So, a Federal Reserve basically has a balance sheet that they purchase things and assets with the money they print, by the way. So like they're basically just like getting things for free. No one really catches that, but yeah, that's how that works. But they have a balance sheet, okay, and they need to be able to maintain the amount of dollars that they're printing and handing around by having them pegged to these things on their balance sheet, right? And some of the things they buy are real estate and like government bonds. And a government bond, in my opinion, isn't really an asset, like at least not anymore. Because why? Because like you're basically buying a promissory note from the government that says like, we'll give you, if you bring this note to us in like 30 years, we'll give you money back in the future, plus like enough to buy an extra cheeseburger, the money that you invested, right? So that's what that is, right? And so basically the Federal Reserve, like they really wanted to, they could just rug everybody and just slowly and surely buy all the assets in the world. And I'm not saying that's going to happen, but yeah. Do you believe the Fed's on inflation? Fuck no, dude. Fuck no. What are they saying? What is the Fed saying the current inflation rate is? I think they said it was 4%, right? Let's look this up. Current inflation rate, US 2021. All right. So, and I don't know, you guys tell me, do you guys believe this? It says that the current inflation rate is 4.2%. I don't think I believe that, right? I mean, I don't think these people are very smart. Some person I do know that I believe is very smart is a guy named Michael Saylor. And this man would say that your purchasing power, if left in the United States dollar, has been and will lose 20% of value per year. So at the same time, like how, if the inflation rate is only 4.2%, right? The inflation rate is only 4.2%. Why are houses going up 25, 35, 45% throughout the United States in the last year alone? That alone just doesn't make any sense, right? Right? I mean, surely people understand that something's wrong, right? And you would think people would understand this, but they just either do two things. They just continue to live in clown world, or they just ignore it. Right? Like, I won't. I really, really want to like show my house on here, so I can show you guys. I'm actually listing my house for sale. It'll be listed for sale on Monday, but I have gained about 30% of value on my house on paper than when I bought it 13 months ago. That makes no sense. That makes absolutely no fucking sense. If you talk to your parents, how long did it take for them to like have their house appreciate $100,000? A lot more than a year, right? Probably a decade, right? Let's see. Antonio, look at all the stimulus. Yeah, exactly. Babe Honker, people thought inflation was going to be great in 1921. Then a year later, they found out that their money was worthless. Yep. I believe that CPI, I believe the CPI, but it doesn't include healthcare, housing, or education. All right, the CPI includes like, and that's true. All right, Nick's made a good point. The CPI doesn't include everything, right? The CPI, which is basically, if you guys don't know, the CPI is like something that says that like it tracks inflation, and all they do is they track a basket of goods, right? And these are goods, like things such as like soap and trash bags and cans of, I don't know. I don't think food's even included in that, right? So these are just like useless things that are just cheap already. All right. So then like even the metrics they have to measure this inflation is just retarded, right? Oh, Michael T. Michael, what books do you recommend to understand money finance? A good one would be Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's more so of like, actually, yeah, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is probably like the first one you want to read, because it's like an eye-opening book about how most of us are taught in America like the complete opposite of what we should be taught with finance, and that's why everyone's just kind of stuck in this rut, living a life that they don't really want to live. Other than that, I mean, it depends on like general finance, or if you just want to like learn about finance in like a specific area, like real estate or whatever. But you can start out with Rich Dad, Poor Dad for sure. I don't think you'd be upset with that. Nick Sledge says, iron exploded like the dollar is going to. ROFL. Yeah, I think even iron or copper went up more than like gold did this year, right? Fed will also buy corporate bonds, stocks, et cetera, to keep liquidity from hitting zero. Yeah, exactly. CPI is like 5% this year. Houses are up 30%. Yeah, exactly. Makes no sense, right? Matt, great stream so far. Thank you, Matt, for tuning in. Guys, smash like if you can. If you have the ability to move your cursor or your finger over to the like button, please do it. Babe Honker, dollar purchasing power is free falling. Yes, it is. Like McDonald's is like, McDonald's is even getting expensive, right? I was talking to my dad today about like some of the gains that I made from my house. And we were talking about like capital gains tax and all that stuff. And I was trying to explain to him, because he's old. He's a boomer. He's like 63 or something. He's like super old. And like, let's just take a number like $50,000. $50,000. Like, imagine like, if you were living in the 1950s, $50,000, that was a boatload of money, right? That's like, I think like a Rolex back then would cost like $1,000. Like a brand new Mustang, like the top of the line Mustang back then would cost like $3,000. And like, $50,000 is a lot back then. All right. That's my point. Nowadays, $50,000, that's 500 trips to McDonald's. All right. And it's an awful it's an awful metric, right? But if you think about it, just 500 trips to McDonald's, not even a lot. That's only like, I don't know, 432 Big Macs, right? Maybe a couple Diet Cokes. Antonio, don't believe it. During the beer bug, something like 24% of all US dollars in existence were printed during that time. Yeah, I think we're up to like 30 now, 30%. Let that sink in. Yep. Next, Josh is the best real estate investor ever. I know, right? Like just buy a house and you'll gain 30% in 1 year. crazy, right? Babe Honker, the house pricing in Canada is going bonkers. Houses that need 100K of work put into it are over 500K. Yeah. Yep. Matt says basically they just measure cheap mass produced shit. Yeah, that's exactly what they do to measure the CPI. Babe Honker, there are no dollar menu now. It's a $3 menu. G-Rod says bigger pockets is a lot of good articles, forums on real estate investing. Thank you, G-Rod. Michael T. Michael, are you planning on moving outside the U.S.? That is the end goal, is for me to move outside the U.S. I don't know exactly where I'm going to be going outside the U.S., but I do plan on eventually doing that. I'm thinking like, ideally I would like to move to the Bahamas, but I don't think that's like the most feasible option because I don't think that you get I think the amount of time that's required to get citizenship there is not worth the value that you get. But yeah, and probably somewhere in like Central America or South America that I could just like, I don't know, be left alone. I have a buddy down in South America right now. He has like dual citizenship, and he'll be back. He's actually a client of mine. He's loving it out there. He just bought a house for $10,000, and he's living like a king down there. And people are nice. The culture's completely different, and the reason why the plan would be for me to move outside the U.S. isn't just like the financial part of it, right? Because certainly most of these third world countries are not like very financially like well-to-do. However, that doesn't mean that I can't still live there and bring my income there and live a completely different kind of life. But the true reason would be, yeah, obviously, because if the United States government isn't going to treat me fairly, why the fuck would I stay here and give them money when I could go someplace that is actually going to treat me good, right? My grandpa used to always say to me, like, go where it treats you best, right? And if the United States isn't going to treat you the best, if no country is going to treat you the best, why would you be here if you have the power to leave? And that's the thing, too. The United States, they keep raising taxes, and these taxes are not affecting the rich people. The people who are wealthy, they can leave. They can get out. And, the government knows that, or the government's retarded, or a combination of both. You guys could have your own opinion on that. But the real people that are affected by taxes are the lower and the middle class and the upper middle class, right? And the lower class. All these, basically everybody, the government rugs the voters. They think like, oh, hey, let's trick them into thinking these big mean rich people are bad, and we're going to make them pay for taxes. Eat the rich, right? Eat the rich. That's what these people think. Eat the rich. That's the most if I'll be on like a dating app or something, and I'll see a girl that says like, eat the rich. I just want to puke, because I actually feel for them. I feel in my heart bad for them. Not because they're a bad person, but they're that ignorant that they don't understand anything, right? Oh, Michael T. Michael says there is a site called Shadow Stats that tracks the real inflation figures around what percent. Yeah, I'd probably guess like 12 to like, I think like on the low end, it would probably be, if I had to guess, like me personally, I'm sure there's some sort of like mathematical like fuckery that could be done to get some sort of like good estimation, and I would be interested in doing that. But if I had to guess me personally, I think anywhere between like 10 to like 20%. So 12 would not surprise me. Matt says I would love to leave Canada one day, but it's tough as my job is location dependent. Get a job, Matt, that doesn't require you to be location dependent. That wouldn't be such a bad idea, right? Christian Soto, hearing that is the worst. You're referring to either rich people, yacht money. Yeah. Matt says, I love little girls on Tinder who want to dismantle capitalism. It's bad out here in Vancouver. Oh my God, you're in Vancouver? Yeah, I would expect that. Antonio says, I don't feel bad for them. They choose that mindset. Yeah, they choose it, but most of these people are programmed. And like, I do this myself too. I vastly underestimate the intelligence or the stupidity of the normie, right? I always, am projecting myself on other people. And so I always just expect that normies to just like be able to see that 2 + 2 does indeed equal 2 and not 372, right? But they don't. A lot of times for normies, 2 + 2 equals whatever CNN tells them, right? Or whatever even Fox News tells them, whatever the orange man tells them, right? Randall, I need to go to a I need to go on a non-location dependent too. Yeah, guys, like that's part of like the reason. It's not the reason why I got into tech, right? The reason why I got into tech is because I used to play video games as a kid and I was a nerd. But when I was in school and when I was trying to decide like what I wanted to do in life, there was tech, and tech was basically like just starting to be this kind of like job realm where people didn't have to work at home. And I remember when I heard about that, I was probably like 20, 18, 19, 20, when I heard like, yeah, people actually like do stuff from work at home from the computer. And I was like, shut the fuck up. No way, right? They don't have to go into an office. You have got to be kidding me, right? And speaking on the topic, guys, we're talking about TradFi, DeFi, and then CeFi, which is like, well, I guess I just use the word CeFi, just say combination, but that was probably not a good acronym. So what are we hearing right now about Bitcoin? Right, we're hearing just crypto in general. It's almost like all of a sudden the orange coin is very bad, right? By multiple different places and multiple different sources at once, right? Let's look at this guy right here. Let's look at this article. I just wanted to show this to you guys because we're speaking of people who were dumb and brainwash people. This lady right here, I would like to call her by her nickname that the Orange Man used to call her, but I feel like I would probably get censored for that. So I won't. But I think you guys know what nickname I would call her. And honestly, that nickname isn't even offensive. Like it's a Disney character, right? And I used to be very, very close to someone who was a Native American person, and that person most certainly did not care about that word. But regardless, this lady right here, Mrs. Warren, she doesn't like Bitcoin, right? And she started talking about that about last week, about how bad said orange coin is. And she had some retarded lady on her, retarded in a video game, not real life. She had some retarded lady, like trying to defend her stance on it. Oh, finally, Michael Saylor replied. That's funny. You guys want to listen to this? Do you guys actually want to listen to this, or do you want me to explain it to you? Because I'm like watching it literally makes me cringe. I'm not even sure if this will share the sound. All right, I'm gonna play this real quick. Can you guys tell me if you guys can hear what she's saying? Press a 1 when I play this. Press a 1 in the chat if you can hear what she's saying, and press a 0 if you can't. All right.
The dangers that cryptocurrencies pose to our economy. We've talked about the ripoffs, the instability, the extent to which they're used to help criminals with cyber attacks, like the attack on Colonial Pipeline and JBS. But there's another piece too, the adverse environmental impacts of the computing activity used to mint many of these digital currencies in the first place. Bitcoin consumes more energy than entire countries, and it is projected to consume
All right. Bitcoin consumes more energy than entire countries. All right. I'm not even going to defend that, but all right.
As much energy as all the data centers in the world. Transfer.
Here it is.
Uses the same amount of electricity as the typical U.S. household uses.
Oh, God.
In more than a month.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right, let's continue.
So, yeah. So,
whoa!
Can you say that again?
Say that again, please, Liz.
A single Bitcoin transaction. That's one purchase,
That's
or
right, guys.
sale or
That's right.
transfer,
Every one Bitcoin transaction you use, you're killing 1,000
US
starving children in Africa. Don't forget.
In more than a month. I think the estimate is 53 days. Wow. Yeah.
What a retard.
So,
all right, let's see this lady. I want her to put her little friend on here that defends it.
Building a system that was secure enough to support.
And I think what she brings this like lady who's quote unquote computer scientist. All right, listen, lady, you're not a computer scientist. I'm a computer scientist. All right. Just wanted to get that out there and let that be clear. But when she lets this so-called computer scientist come on, the first like 3 sentences she said something that made me realize this lady is indeed a phony, and so I just stopped watching it. But
like Bitcoin eat up so much.
I want her. I don't remember what she said. I want to recall.
Certainly, Senator Warren. What I think it's important to note here is that, at least from a computer science perspective, Bitcoin was doing something that we had never done before, which was building a system that was secure enough to support a massive currency, and at the same time allow anyone to participate. The technique that the creator of Bitcoin used in order to do that, Satoshi Nakamoto, was what we refer to as mining or proof of work. And the idea is that the participants in the Bitcoin network protocol, because we don't necessarily know who they are and we want to make the protocol open for anyone to join.
Do we know who the owners of the Federal Reserve are? Okay, just wanted to throw that out there.
Without being able to flood the system with copies of a person, for example, is that they prove who they are by contributing compute power. So the way that Bitcoin works is that in order to build the next block on the blockchain, the participants in the network compete to solve a puzzle. It's a what
that would be the point.
To, as the price of Bitcoin has gone up, is more and more resources being brought to bear, more and more compute resources being brought to bear to solve this puzzle. And as a result, that has used quite a bit more energy. That is also how the blockchain is secured. The idea is that once these participants have expended this energy and expended this compute power.
All right, everything she's saying so far has been correct, but nothing she has said has been negative, right? I would love to continue this, and I forgot what this lady had said, and it might have been something that Elizabeth said actually, but Elizabeth Warren most certainly does not know anything about technology, like let alone how a complex technology such as the Bitcoin network works, right? This lady might, but one transaction does not consume 52 days of a household's worth of electricity. All right. And okay, there would be a way that someone could say that, but it's not because of one transaction, right? Basically, it might take that much to mine one block, but and maybe there is a final transaction in that block so maybe you could do some backhanded gymnastics to say that, but it's not true. All right. Let alone the fact that the Lightning Network exists, and if anyone knows anything about the Lightning Network, I hope I don't have to explain it, but if you guys want me to, I could. But essentially, the Lightning Network is a layer 2 protocol. You know what? Fuck it. I'll show you guys what I mean by layer 2 on a blockchain. All right. So we have our main layer, or just the regular well, actually, before I even say that, let's think about a famous interstate in the United States. All right. I-10, it comes in mind when I think about that. So I-10 goes all the way from California throughout Florida. All right. And maybe some parts of it have only 4 lanes. Some parts of it can go all the way up to 6 lanes when it goes through Houston, Texas and stuff. All right. It's a pretty big highway, right? A lot of people use this highway. A lot of trucks are sent through this highway. A lot of, goods and services are sent through this highway. A lot of people commute to work through this highway. Sometimes parts of this highway, there is a large amount of cars, and sometimes those cars end up, sitting in traffic and having traffic jams. And this isn't the best thing for the environment, right? Because, these cars are sitting there idling and just pumping out gas that's just fumigating the environment, right? But it's the main highway, so you kind of most people decide to use it. This would be layer 1, right? Layer 1, and that's just the conventional Bitcoin network, right? And then we have what would be layer 2, or like the Lightning Network. And you can think of a Lightning Network or a layer 2 as like a service road, okay? And if you guys have ever been on interstate before, they always have little service roads, and maybe there's only 2 lanes, right? And one part of the traffic goes one way, and the other part of the traffic goes the opposite direction, right? However, if you want to get to the same destination, so let's just say destination is here, X marks the spot. You could go through, you can get to that destination by going through the first layer, right? Like this. You might take long, you might use more gas, or you could do the same exact thing and go this way, right? All right, so that's what the Lightning Network is. It's just a layer 2 of the Bitcoin network, right? So, and it's also optimized to basically save electricity, I guess. I mean, since we're so concerned about electricity alone for these banks that we have, just the regular traditional financial system consumes way more energy than the Bitcoin network. And that's just ATMs. Let's talk about all the buildings that these banks are using, all the electricity, probably just like the amount of electricity that these financial institutions use that are just up in like Wall Street alone. Oh, Michael, Elizabeth Warren doesn't get paid enough to like pay Bitcoin. Christian Soto, thank you. Edward Earrings, 7. Oh, 7 was the magic number that I asked for. Thank you. All I hear is war drums and moon chants. Michael, utter bullshit. Yeah, agreed. Matt, this woman should be a middle school libertarian, a librarian. Yeah. I don't think I would want her around my kids. Antonio says the Rothschilds, they own most centralized banks. I mean, I think they own some, right? But they're not the only ones. There's quite a few, right? Oh, Michael T. Michael says, shh, Antonio, they might hear you. Christian, this is just reaffirming my belief that communism, socialism, social justice, environmentalism is the new religion. Religion will find any excuse, no matter how asinine, to assert their belief. Yeah, I mean, like the whole political climate is like a religion right now, right? Like pretty much anyone's political belief is basically a religion to them, right? Christian also says Bitcoin is bad because it harms the almighty climate. Believe and obey. Like, you think these people care about the climate, right? They don't care about the climate. Come on. Antonio says the all BC will ever be is a store of value. For cross-border transactions, it's terrible. I mean, for cross-border payment transactions, like the last thing, like even if it wasn't terrible, like let's just say like the Lightning Network didn't exist, all right, and like people were just sending like regular payment like, well, okay, why would you, like, no one wants to use gold for like cross-border like stuff, right? So like why would you use something to pay for something, for something remedial, like, just goods and services and an asset that's going to increase in value. So yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's use case is not to be for payment processing. It's not what it's made for. Even if it tried to be that, I would never like want to, like, me personally, I would never want to like, I don't know, let's just say I decided to keep all of my my wealth and my cash in the form of Rolexes that ranged from the value of like $500 to a broken, beat up really old Rolex to like $50,000. I wouldn't want to go to the grocery store and like pay for things with my Rolex, right? So like, yeah, Bitcoin is used like that sometimes now, because of our traditional financial system. It makes it hard to use itself unless they want you to use it. Meaning, so if they have people that they don't want to be using, if they have people they want to control, then yeah. But I would agree. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say though that it's terrible for that. It's just not. It's not ideal. And even if it was quasi ideal, I wouldn't be using that. They may send their half lizard beings after me. LOL. Edward says, so what you were going to say is BitConnect is the future of DeFi. Yeah, 100%. Antonio also says it's also about converting CBDCs. Yeah. Yet to see what's going to happen with that. I think as of today, you can take the digital yuan in China and go to an ATM and exchange it for fiat as of today or yesterday. I guess it was yesterday because in Asia, they are a day ahead of us. Randall says, is it because Bitcoin is orange and therefore must be bad? Yes, precisely, Randall. We all know that orange coin bad, orange man bad, orange pill bad, orange anything bad, right? Until, there's some sort of like character that is, on the fight for all the things that are socially not just, and that they happen to be orange. And then, of course, the color orange will indeed be good again. But until then, my friends, orange is not good, right? So that was just one thing, the Elizabeth Warren thing about Bitcoin being bad. But if anyone here follows me on Instagram, I'm trying to think because let me actually check my phone because I have a bunch of these screenshots and I can't recall the top of my head. But lately there's been a lot of like almost what seems to be strategic bad publicity towards Bitcoin, right? Here's one I like. I don't know if you guys can see this. Old lady yells at Bitcoin. That's you, Elizabeth Warren. You're a joke. Okay? You're a joke, Elizabeth. The thing is, guys, like, is orange coin really bad? Like, let's just think about it. Is orange coin really bad? And some of these things that I've been reading have ranged from Bitcoin is racist. If you guys have followed me on Instagram, I'm sure you've seen all these things that I've been posting lately because they've been coming out and it's just been annoying me so much that I like to post them on my story and laugh at people who believe them. But it's like you guys remember in here back when 2015, that guy, that orange man, that guy named Donnie T. He started like saying that he was going to run for president, right? And at first, people kind of like took it as a joke, and they didn't take it too seriously. So like, there wasn't a lot of hate towards him. And eventually, as time progressed, and the orange man started to actually take his campaign seriously, people started to realize like, hey, this dude actually is going to run for president. Now let's just go ahead and like start saying bad things about him on the media together. And then next thing you know, the man goes from like what seems like it's a joke for him running president to he's like it's him. He's beat all the other Republican Party candidates versus Hillary Clinton, who beat all the Democratic Party candidates, and went from him being like, oh, it's just a joke. It's not really a serious thing that he's running for president to holy shit. This dude's a bad man. He's like an awful person. Like he sleeps with attractive women. And he only pays as much taxes as he's legally allowed to do. He's a really bad guy. Right. And like some recording that they had of him, and I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, guys, right? But it was almost like they were doing it intentionally, right? It was almost like which obviously we know now. Like, okay, you don't have to agree with that, but I mean, come on. Look, if you don't agree that the media and all the corporations in Hollywood were all against Trump together, coordinated, then like, if you don't agree with that, then I don't know what to tell you. And I wish you the best of luck in life, because you're a very unobservant person, and you probably walk down the street and you probably have someone pickpocket you on a daily basis, and you probably have lost all your money, right? But the point of me saying this is the Trump thing. Like, I used to not care at all about either. Like, you know, when that first presidential race was going on, I used to not care a lot about it, but I hated Hillary Clinton because, you know, as a young college conspiracy theorist, I hated the Clinton family and everything they stood for. So I didn't want her to win. And I was like, hey, this dude's going to win. He's like funny. He's a funny meme. He's a meme lord, right? He's the meme lord, and meme magic put him in presidency. But then I realized, like, and I before, because I just knew he was like, hey, he's that rich guy. Those rich people are probably mean. My mindset was completely different back then. I used to think that people who were rich were probably just all mean people, right? And the media started saying all this stuff about him, and I was like, maybe this guy is not that bad. Like, something's awfully fishy about everything the media is saying. It just doesn't make sense that they would just be all attacking this guy together, right? The same thing's going on right now with Bitcoin in particular, but like specifically what they're targeting is Bitcoin and DeFi. Why all of a sudden are they start just finding reasons to hate it and say how bad it is? Well, I mean, look at what's happening, guys. Every time the Federal Reserve prints money, the Bitcoin network literally sucks it up. That's why I made the thumbnail for this episode a picture of like a Bitcoin egg sucking in money. Because in March 2020, Bitcoin dropped to a low of like $3,000, right? And what is it at, right? Like, let's check the price. Let me check the price right now at this exact moment. It is currently at $36,124.76. All right. So like, let's do the exact math. Let's do 3.6. We'll do 200 to make it even. Divided by $3,000. All right. That's a 12x in 1 year. And Bitcoin is not anywhere near its all-time high so far this year. All right. So in 1 year, that, I mean, it just, and the thing is too, is the amount of dollar that that one Bitcoin is worth is like, in the long-term scheme of things, it's kind of like irrelevant, right? Because for all we know, in the year 2025, 1 million USD could equal one Big Mac, right? But it's the dollar value is a reflection on the fact that this asset class is literally eating up this money. People are like realizing this, and people are trying to exit and escape, right? And also, it's got a lot to do with the way that the Bitcoin algorithm is programmed. Like, it literally is programmed to be number go up. No pun intended. It's almost like the people who made it knew that this was going to happen, right? Let's see. Randall, I think I already. Hold on a second. I'm losing y'all's comments for a second. No, you already said that. All right. Oh, Michael T. Michael, Bitcoin might run for president. I hope so. I'd vote Satoshi. Antonio says there is a PDF that the World Economic Forum just released. We should take a look at regarding crypto. If it's from the World Economic Forum, I'll probably want to kill myself if I read it, but I will take a look. Oh, Michael T. Michael, market manipulation of Wyckoffs includes the news. The Wyckoff pattern is the news. Oh, Michael T. Michael, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. Yep. Andrew Frazier says, LOL, who all is in the Cultivate Crypto course right now? I am. I'll be there tonight, at least, for sure, because I don't have anything else to do tonight. So that's going to be a nice break. Andrew says, Orange man bad, Orange coin bad, exactly. Andrew says also, I totally agree, bro. Has anyone heard the audio clip? Some girl who went on a date with a CNN staffer who basically admitted CNN's entire goal was for many months was to oust Trump from the White House. Yeah, I mean, I think that was on like news before, right? But look, even if normies like see this stuff, they don't care because they're already programmed to believe the things they're told, right? And that my goal here in this podcast is to reprogram all you people, is to unplug all these people and reprogram everybody into the opposite because people need it, right? I literally, the goal of my podcast is literally to positively program people. All right. So back on topic too, like El Salvador, countries are literally starting to use this as a means to say, fuck you to the US dollar. We don't need you anymore. We don't need you guys to literally control the well-being of our country and our sovereignness, our sovereignty, whatever the proper adjective would be. All right. And ever since and so the price is going up, countries are starting to use it. All right. People are making money off it, which the government and banks, they don't want you to make money, right? They don't fucking care about you. They don't, in fact, not only do they not care about you, they don't like you. They want you to do bad. They want you to be poor because they want you stuck in this little box that they have you listed in. They want you stuck in this box, this slave box. Where in the slave box, you can only survive by taking out loans and going to the same company every day for 40 years. And finally, after you're 7 years old, you can be allowed to be given your Social Security released to you on a bi-weekly basis. And so then you can pay the same amount of bills that you had before until you die. And that's what they want. They don't want any of those good things. They don't want you to progress in life, right? They want you dependent off of them because, I mean, they're literal vampire potbelly goblins. I mean, I don't know why. The only thing that could make sense to me is that, like, you know, basically, like, people who are at the top want to stay at the top, and they don't want, Edward says, if they ever start it, lol. The only thing that makes sense to me is that, like, you know, people who are in control want to stay in control and they don't want to lose the control. So if people start to realize that that the people who have this facade of people of having power over people, which I guess they don't have, that's not the facade, but the real facade is that we need them, right? And just tonight alone, I showed you guys like these traditional banking institutions. You don't really need. There's other means that you can use to put your money elsewhere, right? And they're actually more beneficial, right? So you don't need them, but they want you to think that you need them, and that's why they want you to think that the orange coin is bad, and that's why they don't want you to take the orange pill. And that's why they don't want you to take the dev pill either, because they don't want you to have to not go into an office somewhere, right? They don't want you to have the ability to create things on your own. They don't want you to be able to have the ability to do anything that involves not needing them, right? Nick Sledge says, look at people in charge, LOL, very zombie-like. Yeah, I mean, they literally look like literal vampire potbelly goblins. I mean, look at this guy, like right here. This is not a, I'm not going to use any adjectives in this search. I just searched our current president of the United States name. Let's just see. I'm assuming the first couple Google images wouldn't be too bad because we all know Google loves to make themselves look better than they really are, or make people who they like look better in person than they really are. But I'm sure we can find something in here that resembles what this guy actually looks like. So this guy, this really isn't even that bad of one. Like, this dude looks dead, and this is him with a fake tan and probably a blood transfusion and like 80 milligrams of Adderall. Right? You guys remember before the final debate, how he looked the night before or 2 nights before the final debate versus how he looked on the final debate? He still looked like dog do in the final debate. But you see this like color that he's got right now? This wasn't the old Joe that we saw not too long ago. Like, this dude's got some blood transfusions. He's got some adrenochrome. Who knows? Probably like, again, 80 to 100 milligrams of Adderall mainlined in his vein or something. So maybe they did to him the same thing they did to Hitler, and they took a mixture of base testosterone, glucose, and dextroamphetamine and put it right into his vein before he went up on stage. That's what made that Hitler guy so crazy, apparently. And this dude is he's dead. He's a zombie, right? This is a pretty accurate. I mean, this is a great picture. The family should all see this because everyone should be focusing on sexual orientation, because sexual orientation is really important, guys, right? I mean, why are we even discussing sexual orientation in politics? Like, why are we discussing sexual orientation in media? Why am I discussing sexual orientation right now? God damn it, I did the same thing. All right, guys. Let me finish up these comments. Let's see. Oh, Michael, have you had burnt out as a programmer at work? I have before, and then I switched to a job to where I don't have to have burnt out anymore because, well, without getting too personal, I get paid a lot of money, not a lot at this job, not my J job, but I get paid a decent amount of money to write code from home, and I'll just put it to you like this: I'm not building brash new systems every day. This job allows me to have other things to do outside my life, because that's what I wanted. So currently no, but most definitely in the past I have. Like, I've been working at startup companies before where I was like writing software for casinos, and like if deadlines weren't met, bad things would happen, right? And I was the only person responsible. So yes, there was many sleepless nights, and you can, but it doesn't have to be that case. Andrew Frazier, hamster sleeve wheel, endless hamster sleeve. We used to say wizard sleeve, or sorry, you said hamster slave wheel. Oh, okay. I thought you meant like wizard sleeve. Anyway, I'll continue. Hamster slave wheel, endless debt, working your entire life, always to help make them richer. Yeah, indeed. Fuck them, right? Let's make ourselves richer. Let's make us rich again. Nick Sledge, facelift. Yeah, he probably did have a facelift. How much of his skin is actually his own? Christian thinks that's funny too, Nick. Randall says even France has the balls to yell at him. Yeah, wow. What up, Max? Max says, sometimes I'm scared that Elon Musk is hiding under my bed, ready to fund my bags. Me too, dude. That Elon guy, he's quite the character these days, huh? Should I speak with a therapist? I think you should, dude. I think that was a great final comment for tonight. Yeah, guys, I used to think Elon was a cool guy too. And then I realized he's kind of just a giant hypocrite who's a self-proclaimed engineer who's not really a real engineer. I'm a real engineer. All right, guys, not you, Elon. But that's it for tonight, guys. I have something I need to attend to. I'm sure some of you people in here do as well. Let's see. Let's finish these up. Oh, Michael Putin said he has no soul. Edward says, damn, man, I'm kind of glad I dumbed out and went to the construction route. I mean, dude, construction is always going to be like a valid thing, right? Like, unless we just stop needing things built. It's the equivalent, Tesla is supposed to start taking ADA. Cardano still doesn't even have live smart contracts on their main network. So Tesla's a fucking idiot. Elon's a fucking idiot too, in my opinion. Just kidding, Elon. I love you. You're great. All right, guys. That's all I have tonight. If you enjoyed the stream, please like, comment, subscribe. And guys, if you have something that you would like me to discuss in the next one, and instead of me just doing something that I do want to talk about anyway, go ahead and drop a comment and let me know what you want. And yeah, eliftprogram.com, developerdirection.com, at eliftprogram on Instagram. If someone wants to send me 1 million USDT, go ahead and send it to, I don't know the address at the top of my head. Of course, who memorizes their address, right? And that's all I got. I love you guys. Thank y'all for coming in here tonight. And I'll see you probably on Sunday or tomorrow. We'll see. Later, fellas.